Hi, and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a January transfer move to Arsenal. Mikel Arteta speaking yesterday ahead of the trip to Nottingham, where we're going to take on Nottingham Forest tomorrow in the FA Cup. We get started in that. Let's hope it's not like last time. I remember that game, 4-2, we got beaten. I still can't believe it. We owe them something, so let's hope we can get a win there tomorrow. But Arteta speaking, and inevitably was asked a lot about transfers. In particular, Arteta, they were questioning him a lot about Dusan Vlahovic and asking him, will Vlahovic be coming into the club? Of course, we've been linked with this guy time and time again since the start of the transfer window. You all know who he is by now, and you realise that he is the number one target for Arsenal. Asked about Vlahovic, this is what Arteta said. He said, I think the amount of things and the way we want to evolve the squad, we have to maximize every window in many different ways, and we are alert. We are alert, he says. And he said that Edu and his team are working very hard because we know exactly what we need, and whether we can accomplish that in January or in the summer is a different question, as is related to other stuff. Those were Mikel Arteta's quotes on it. So there is definitely an interest in Dusan Vlahovic. He seems to be the number one target for Arsenal, but will we be able to get him? Yesterday, I spoke to Fabrizio Romano, the transfer expert over on the Don Robbie channel, DR Sports, and he had some interesting things to say on it as well. Listen to this.
Dusan Vlahovic of Fiorentina. I remember you were singing his praises and saying that this guy is good enough to play in any of the top clubs, and now they're all starting to hover for him. Arsenal, is there any truth in the fact that they've already made like an offer for Dusan Vlahovic?
Yes, it's true that they approached Fiorentina to have a negotiation for Vlahovic, to try to find a way. They have good relationship also because Lucas Torreira is on loan to Fiorentina with a buy option from Arsenal. And so it's a very, very good relationship between clubs. The problem is about the player. It's still the same situation, I told them. This is why it's still not in advanced stages or close to be completed. Because at the moment, from player side and agent side, they are not open to talk with Arsenal and to move to Arsenal in January. It seems that the player wants to stay at Fiorentina till the end of the season to bring Fiorentina back to European football and then leave the club in the summer. Let's see what happens, because maybe Arsenal will be able, with a lot of money or with a project or something different, to change his mind in January. But as of now, I still see this move as complicated. Or something is going to change on agents' side, or it's going to be very difficult.
All right, you heard it there from Fabrizio Romano. But what even he's saying is if a big offer comes in, if, say, Arsenal come in and they're really serious about it, and Mikel Arteta is basically saying to Arsenal, splash the cash, could they get this deal done in January? It'd be a massive, massive deal. And, of course, it depends a lot on the player. Will the player be willing to come now before the end of the season? Definitely be a big boost for Arsenal in our hopes to try and get into the top four. But let's keep our eye on this one. It's going to linger on throughout this January transfer window. Vlahovic, will he become an Arsenal player, or are we dreaming? Also, Mikel Arteta was asked in that press conference about the midfield, because Ainsley Maitland-Niles has joined Roma now on loan. Mikel Arteta is saying that, listen, Ainsley came to me basically and said, listen, I'm not getting enough playing time. I really would like this loan and to go and play with Jose Mourinho. And he said he didn't stand in his way. But he, in the press conference, said, we are very, very short in midfield. That's what he said. And he said, we've got to get somebody in. Now, could that be Bruno Guimaraes? He's the one that keeps getting linked with Arsenal. Be very expensive to get done. I did actually speak with Fabrizio Romano about Bruno Guimaraes as well. You can listen to that interview over on DR Sports. And he was saying that, you know, they're demanding ridiculous amounts of money, Lyon, at the moment. Lyon's struggling at the moment over there in the French league. And I think Guimaraes, if the right offer was made, again, is a doable deal, but again, would be very expensive. Couldn't see the two of these, both him and Vlahovic, getting done in this window. But again, it's one of those deals where Arsenal are very, very interested in. And as I said, Mikel Arteta himself yesterday saying a midfielder is desperately needed. We are very short. Basically, Sambi Lokonga and Xhaka. Those are the only two midfielders at the club at the moment, with El Neni and Thomas Partey being away. We've got important games coming up. The big game against Tottenham next week, games against Burnley in the league, as well as, the two-legged competitions in the Carabao Cup, other FA Cup games. So the quicker we can get a midfielder in, the better. So let's see how that one goes. Cedric being linked with a move away. Cedric Soares, who probably should figure in the game tomorrow. And it'd be always interesting to see what the squad is for, or the first team is for tomorrow's game. But we're all assuming that Cedric will come in for Tomiyasu. But Cedric being linked with a move away today. Atletico Madrid said to be interested in him. We know that they've sold Kieran Trippier to Newcastle. They're said to be interested in Cedric. Would Arsenal let Cedric, an experienced player like that, go right now? Again, listen, you can never say never, but I'd be surprised at that. However, there are links today linking us with another right back, and that is this guy, Colin Dagba. He plays for PSG. He's a right back. I know it says defender there, but he's primarily plays as a right back. He's come up through the Paris Saint-Germain youth system. However, even though he's a top prospect, even though he's highly rated, he never ever plays for PSG. I mean, in front of him is Hakram Hakimi. And to be honest, if you're behind him, you ain't playing. Not as long as he's fit, because he's probably the best wing back in the world. So Colin Dagba really struggling to get any game time over there in Paris. Now, apparently, they've said to him that he can leave this January. They're willing to let him go this January. The reported fees ran about £7.2 million, but they are willing to let him go. He wants first-team football. He wants to play as well. And he's been linked with a move to Arsenal. Again, if Cedric goes, I guess, might make sense, but to let an experienced player like Cedric go to bring in another youngster, I'm just not sure at this point, because, as I said, Cedric's a very experienced player and a good right back as well. A good right back to be as a backup to Tomiyasu, and I just don't think that would be a wise move, in my opinion, to do that this January, especially when we've got such a young squad. Experienced players like Cedric, for me, are good. Now, Jack Wilshere, we've spoken about Jack on the show many a time before. And I've posed a question to you guys and said, would you have Jack back? He's been training with Arsenal. I don't know if you saw that video he did the other day. He said, he's fit, he's ready, he's looking for a club. And then I loved a little bit at the end where he says, apart from Tottenham, right? But Jack Wilshere said he's fit and ready to go. Now, Mikel Arteta was asked about him in his press conference yesterday. Could you take Jack Wilshere back? You're saying that you're very short in midfield. What about Jack Wilshere? But he kind of, poured. What's the phrase? Well, basically said no. Jack Wilshere will not be coming back to Arsenal. He said nothing's changed from what I've told you guys before. He's here at Arsenal to train, to do his badges. We're trying to help him, but we're not considering taking him back. The romantic in me is very disappointed in that. I would have loved to have seen Jack Wilshere on that Arsenal bench, but it doesn't look like that is going to happen. Mikel Arteta saying no, he's definitely not coming back. Let's hope Jack can get himself a club and get back playing football. Still a young guy. Would love to see him back in action. And what about Pablo Mari? Excuse me. Going to be very interesting to see if he plays tomorrow. Been very unlucky as injuries, COVID has kept him out. And then, of course, we've had an established centre-back pairing of Ben White and, of course, Gabriel, and he's not been able to get a look into the team. Be interesting, as I said, to see if he starts tomorrow. Now, he's been linked with a move away back to his old club, Flamengo, we bought him from in Brazil. They're apparently willing to take him on loan. He was, probably one of their best players when he was over there playing in Brazil. And there's also reports that if Arsenal don't play him anymore, they'll save over 1 million euros in performance-related bonuses. So that could be an incentive for them to send him back. I'm expecting Pablo Mari to play, and again, it's a bit like with the Cedric one. He's a very experienced player. and we've still got a long season ahead. We're only halfway through this season, and I know Gabriel and Ben White have been playing brilliantly, but what if Gabriel's suspended? Like, what, you know, we're getting a bit lucky now because his 1-match suspension is going to be during, you know, well, it'll be served after the FA Cup game. But what if he got a straight red and he's out for 3 games? What if he's injured? What if Ben White's injured? I just don't think we can afford to let go a player of this experience. But as I said, saving money on bonuses, you know, hasn't really happened yet for Pablo Mari. I like Pablo Mari. I do think he's a good player. I know a lot of people focusing on how Lukaku sort of had him in his pocket in that game earlier on in the season, but that was so early in the season. I've seen good things from Pablo Mari as well. And again, I think Arsenal should definitely be looking to keep him. So those are the rumours for you today. Thanks for watching the show. Don't forget, we're here every day of January, right throughout the January transfer window, keeping you up to date with all the transfers. Anything breaks as well, we're coming straight at you with a breaking news to let you know. So thanks for tuning in day after day. Really appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. Looking forward to that game against Nottingham Forest. And let's hope we can get a win. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.